Yeah, hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to focus on the main memory, which is nothing but the RAM. We all know, right, the RAM plays very important role, so that there are two type of resources which we are mainly focus on into any of the device which are going to purchase. One with the RAM and one with the hard disk or ROM. What are the storage we have, right? How much storage you have. So these two important thing which makes sense apart from the processor to make the buying decision, right? But as a developer, right, as a learning developer, or we can say the development IT industry, we should know why the RAM bigger size is very important. If it is a big size or if it is a small size, what are the problems you will get, and what, like, why the size is important, and what, like, not only the size, right, there are multiple other parameters is also very important with the RAM. But why it's so, and why we are more focused on the RAM. And there are multiple comparisons as well, right? How much this device is post processing faster or slower. So is the anything impacted because of the RAM? So these questions will be going to answer in this video. We will try to keep very short to just understand what is a RAM and why it is very important. In the later video we will going in the detail, right, how the RAM implementation has been done and how the virtual RAM is also plays very important role. So let's start with the understanding. So basically, right, in the computer, let's say you have, like, let's say I'm giving some instruction to the computer to execute some of the task, right? Let's say I'm saying, hey, this is instructor 1. I want you to print data which is there into the text.txt. txt nothing but the text file. Okay, I want, let's say, the txt.text. Let me just give you the metadata as well. When I'm saying metadata, the more information about the test.txt, which is stored into the, let's say, D drive. Okay, I'm just giving the assumptions over here. Okay, which is stored into the D drive, as well as I want to make sure that the D has a size of 10 MB. I mean, the whatever the data the test.txt has been stored, it contains the 10 MB of the data, maybe some text or some paragraph or the news, whatever you can say. So this data has been there. Okay, and now, and as I mentioned, it is D drive, right? When I'm saying D drive, also I need to mention it's a hard disk. Okay, just to give you more context. So here's the metadata. Let me write it down. Metadata. Yeah. Now I'm instructor. I'm sending the information that, hey, processor. Let's assume. Let me create one processor over here. Here is my processor. Okay. Now what I'm doing is, I want my processor should do this task, right? Because whenever I'm sending any of the instruction or anything, right, it straight away goes to the processor. Now processor has a responsibility to execute this part, right? So how it will work? So whenever I'm sending the instruction to the processor, right, it will first check into the RAM. Okay, in the RAM or in the RAM also there is a memory management unit. Okay, so just writing one checkbox over here. MMU. When I'm saying MMU, it is nothing but the memory management unit. Okay, it is straightforward, goes to the memory management unit and ask, hey, you had the abc.text.txt file over here with you? If the MMU giving the location that, hey, yes, I have that location, I have those file into my system. If answer is yes, then what it will do, it will straightforward go and display those file or give the information to instructor 1, saying, hey, this is the data which you have into the txt file, and after that whatever the statement they are mentioning, it will perform the actions. Yeah, but now let's assume that the data is not there with the RAM, right? So how it will do? So when I'm saying it is not there with the RAM, one simple possibility is like the first time when you, let's say, you are restarting your system, your application is just, operating system is just loading up. At that time you are expecting, yeah, the application has been closed, right? Nothing has been there into the RAM. I mean, there are some system program will be definitely there to support your background activity, but let's assume you are just opening your system and that time nothing is there into the RAM, the physical data. Okay, so let's assume this data has been not opened yet. First time you're trying to access those data. Okay, so when you're trying to access the first time data, so the data is not there obviously, right, into the RAM. So what it will do, right, it goes to the hard disk or SSD, whatever it is. Now onwards, most of the system has the SSD system, which is basically the magnetic, and hard disk is follow the disk drive system. So it is slightly lower. Why slower and faster? That we will see when I'm talking about the disk management. It will be part of not next video, but next to next video we'll more do discussing about how as hard disk and SSD will work. For that, please subscribe our channel. So in like hard disk, you have the data. Let's assume, as I mentioned, it's hard disk, we have stored it, and D drive it is stored. For us, D drive, okay, D drive is a logical name from our side because we are only able to understand those things, but your operating system or your memory or your processor will not able to understand, right? What is a D drive? For them it's unknown, right? They are only communicated with 0 or 1, right, binary. So they don't know about it. Assembly level language also don't aware about it. So what it will do, it will go, there are some mechanism I will discuss when I'm talking about the disk management, how the read is happening and what is the throughput and everything. Multiple stuff is there. So let's assume over here that data comes directly to the RAM. Once it is not available, it's capture the data from the hard disk and goes to the RAM. Now the RAM has those data. Okay, let's assume here I'm drawing the data. It is occupied this 10 MB of space, okay, from the RAM, and now the processor will be able to access those data. So what is the ultimate idea over here? So whenever you're trying to access anything from the computer or any data from the system, not a computer system I can say, which might include the operating system or might include your laptop, computer, mobile, tablet, whatever it is, okay, when you're trying to access the things, it goes to the check, like it goes to the RAM and asking those data. It will not go to the hard disk and go to those data, right? Why? Because hard disk will be more slower compared to the RAM, and RAM is more faster. So whenever trying to access those data, it goes to the RAM. So the RAM management plays very important role to give the performance faster in terms of opening speed, in terms of read write speed and everything, right? So that's why the RAM plays very important role here. That's the main thing, right? One more thing I need to highlight, right? As we know, the RAM is a one first important thing where the data can be loaded. Let's assume, giving you another example, let's talk about PDF, right? Let's assume you have stored some PDF into some drive or into your hard disk or SSD. When you want to open those data, right? Open those file, the file comes to the RAM first. And then even not only the files but the instruction what I'm passing to the system, that hey, I want to open it. So open it is the instruction, right? The instruction is also goes and stored into the RAM and saying, hey, this is the data and this things needs to be done. So this how this information is flowing. So the RAM management plays very important role. Got it? Now take an example, right? As we know, right, we have very limited RAM, right? Let's say 16 GB, 32 GB, 48 GB. Now RAM is going more and more. Well, let's assume, right, we are going to talk about the big data science, right, where you are dealing with a huge amount of data. Okay, one file might be contain 1 terabyte of the data. So RAM we don't have one in terabyte, right? At least in our system. I'm not talking about the supercomputer and all, right? They might have, but in the normal system we don't have that much, right? So in that scenario, right, how you will manage your memory more efficient way, because that full data you cannot able to load into the main memory or the RAM, right? So how you will manage those things? That's what we have to focus in on next video. And also one of the important terminology which I need to highlight over here, now onwards multiple OEMs, right, multiple companies are giving the support of virtual RAM, or they can say, hey, you can just click over here, we can just check box over here, radio button will be there where you can enable 4 GB of extra things, extra memory, which is called the virtual RAM, right? Which comes from the hard disk or the SSD, whatever the ROM basically, which your device is supporting. So it will use those ROM for considering as a RAM, but that might be causing the problem in your system as well. So I'm sure there are you have already gone through multiple type of comparison where after enabling virtual RAM as well, there is nothing difference between your processing speeds and actual data, right? So that's you need to understand.